So learning target 2.5 on the Unit 2 test is calculate and interpret the rate of change of a linear relationship, and then be able to, again, as we have in this entire unit, be able to give the real-world meaning, the real-world context of what you just found. Well, the first thing says to identify the independent and dependent variables. This is where you ask yourself, does the time that passes depend on the depth of water in the pool, or does the depth of water in the pool depend on how much time has passed? Hopefully, if you ask yourself that question, you realize that the independent variable is time in this problem. And actually, quite often, the independent variable is time, not all the time. And the dependent variable, whoops, it's hard to talk and write at the same time. The dependent variable is the depth of the pool. And obviously they're filling the pool, so it's the depth of the water in the pool, but the depth of the pool. Because the depth of the water in the pool depends on how long they've had the hose in it and they've been pouring water into it. Now it says find the rate of change or the slope. Well, if we're looking at a regular graph, x is the independent variable, the x-axis. The y-axis is the dependent variable. As you guys know, slope is rise over run. On a graph, y's rise. So I need to pick 2 points that look like they're easy to work with, and I think the point 10 looks awfully easy, and probably the next one looks the next easiest, 2 and 1.8. And I want to put my two y values, because the rise goes in the top, so my 1 and my 1.8 are going to go in the numerator of my fraction. Now, we're going to come back and figure out what goes between them in just a minute. The run is my x values, so the 0 and the 2. And you could have had these reversed, 1.8 before the 1 and then 2 before the 0. I want to find change. To find out how much two numbers change, I want to find the difference between them. So I'm going to subtract and put subtraction between these. When I do this, 1 minus 1.8 is a negative 0.8, and 0 minus 2 is a negative 2. I don't stop until I get down to the unit rate of change. So now I take negative 0.8 and divide it by negative 2, and I get a rate of change of 0.4 as my final answer. Well, that's great. The rate of change is 0.4. What the heck does that mean? And that's really what the next question is asking me. This 0.4 is not just some number sitting out there with no context whatsoever. I'm talking about filling a pool with water. So what happens is, this is the change in the pool level, this is the change in time. So what this 0.4 means is, for each hour that passes, the depth of the water in the pool increases by 0.4 feet. So when it asks the real world meaning, that's when I go back to my table and I realize, oh, I'm seeing how much this changes, the depth in the pool, for every time this changes by 1. So that is learning target 2.5 on the Unit 2 test.